In this video, we'll recreate the verse and chorus from Go by the Chemical Brothers in Ableton Live. I'll layer and introduce the instruments in the same chronological flow as the original track, starting with the drums and bass, and progressively building the layers. This approach mirrors how the original track is structured, making it easy to expand on these sections to recreate the entire song if you'd like to go one step further. Let's get started. Step 1 will set up the project. Start a new project in Ableton Live, and we'll leave the tempo at 120 BPM. Make sure you're in the arrangement view. If you're in the session view, swap to the arrangement view by pressing the tab key or clicking the horizontal line icon in the top right hand corner. Next, right click on the audio tracks and delete them as they won't be needed. Step 2 will add the drums. In our sidebar, type in 909 and we'll select the 909 core kit. Drag this onto MIDI track 1. Next, right click, rename, and we'll call this drums. You can see all of our 909 samples have been loaded in the grid. What we'll do is select the hot preset, and this will give the kit a bit more punch. Next, zoom in so you can see bar 1 clearly. Highlight all of bar 1, right click, and we'll insert empty MIDI clip. Select the headphones icon so we can hear the drums as we put them in. Let's program our rhythm pattern for the drums, starting with the bass drum. Copy in the following notes. Next, the snare drum. Next, the closed hi-hat. And finally, the open hi-hat. Let's have a listen to our rhythm pattern for the drums. That's sounding spot on, so we'll zoom out and we'll loop this over the 27 bars. Step 3 will add the bass. We'll use MIDI track 2. In the search bar, type in tubular bass, and we'll drag this into MIDI track 2. Right click on the track, rename, and we'll call this bass. Next, highlight bars 1 to 4, right click, and we'll insert empty MIDI clip. Pause the video here and input bars 1 to 4 of the MIDI bass line shown. Once that's in, loop this clip to fill through to the end of bar 16 by dragging the right edge of the clip. Ableton will repeat the 4-bar pattern automatically. Now highlight bars 17 to 20, right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We'll now input the bass line for the chorus. Copy in the following notes. Pause the video here and input bars 17 to 20 of the bass MIDI shown. Once you've done this, loop this clip the same way by dragging the right edge out to the end of bar 24. Finally, highlight bars 25 to 27, right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We'll now input the final 3 bars of the chorus. Copy in the following notes. Pause the video here and input bars 25 to 27 of the bass MIDI shown. Now that we have our bass line in, we're going to shape the sound of the bass. Select the bass in the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to add a saturator. This is an effect that adds warmth and grit to a sound by gently distorting it, similar to the natural warmth you get from old analog hardware. So in our search bar, type in saturator, and we'll drag this next to our tubular bass. One of the things I like to do is listen to the track as we're editing the saturator so that we can get to the right sound. So as we're listening to our track, we'll make some tweaks to the saturator. You'll notice that I'll toggle it on and off as we listen to it so that you can hear the difference between the saturator on and the saturator off. Let's have a listen. Okay, I'm happy with that now. Let's listen to the rest of the bass line. Okay, step 4 will add in the piano stabs. These stabs give the chorus its rhythmic tension and harmonic character. So firstly, create a new MIDI track, right click, insert MIDI track. In our search bar, search for drift, and we'll drag across drift to MIDI track 3. Next, right click, rename, and we'll call this piano stabs. First, highlight bars 17 to 20, Right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We'll input the following chords for the piano stabs. Pause the video here and input bars 17 to 20 of the piano stabs in the MIDI shown. Next, we'll loop this clip by dragging the right edge out to the end of bar 24. Next, highlight bar 25, right click, insert empty MIDI clip. Copy in the following chords. Pause the video here and input the following chords. Once you've done this, we'll loop this to the end of bar 27. Let's have a listen. Okay, so you can hear that we need to shape the sound of the piano stabs. So head back to our instrument and let's make some of the following changes. Firstly, we'll change oscillator 1 from a sawtooth to a square. We'll then change the octave down to -1. Next, we'll change our oscillator 2 from a sine to a sawtooth, and octave stays at -1. Oscillator 1 mix will change to 0, and oscillator 2 mix will change to -6. Our filter frequency will drop down to 59 Hz, and this will cut out some of the top end. Next, we'll increase decay to about 2 seconds, sustain to about 25%, and release to about 250 milliseconds. Let's have a listen. Okay, step 5, let's add the synth melody. This is the lead sound in the chorus. Create a new track, right click, insert MIDI track. We'll then drag across our drift instrument to MIDI track 4, right click, rename, and we'll call this synth lead. So first, highlight bars 17 to 20, right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We can get rid of our sidebars by selecting the icon up here, and this will give us a bit more room. In the MIDI editor, input the following notes. Pause the video here and input bars 17 to 20 of the synth lead. Once you've done this, we can then loop this to the end of bar 24. Next, highlight bar 25, right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We'll now enter the final part of the synth lead. Copy in the following notes. Pause the video here and input the final notes in the synth lead. We can then loop this to the end of bar 27. Now that we have our MIDI, we can hear exactly what we're working with. So we'll solo the track and shape the sound. Let's see what it sounds like. So select our synth lead and we're going to shape the sound. Firstly, we'll change the mode from poly to mono, and then we'll set the glide to about 78. Let's have a listen to that now. So we can hear that the melody has that smooth slide between the notes. Next, we'll add a saturator to make it a bit more aggressive. In our sidebar, type in saturator and we'll drag this next to our synth. We'll then select analog clip, change the clip to hard clip, and let's have a listen. One final change is that we'll reduce the filter frequency to cut out some of the high end of the synth. Let's have a listen. So we've cut out a little bit too much. Let's add some more in and have another listen. That's sounding just right. Let's listen to it all together. Okay, and you would have noticed that I increased the drive and the dry wet signal just a little bit as I was listening to it all together. So step 7, we'll add in the drum effects rack. Right click, insert MIDI track. Next, type in drum rack and we'll drag the drum rack across onto MIDI track 5. Next, type in crash 909 and we'll drag this into C1. Then type in whoosh and we'll drag down whoosh down dark to C sharp 1. Next, highlight bar 17. Right click, insert empty MIDI clip. We'll then input the following notes for our crash and our whoosh. Now you can hear that the whoosh is quite loud, and so what we can do is select it here and then reduce the volume just a little bit. Let's have a listen. Next we'll highlight bar 21. Right click, insert empty MIDI clip, and we'll insert our whoosh and crash on the same bar. Let's have a listen to the chorus. So one final thing is we'll cut the tail of the whoosh because it's hanging around a little bit too long. So we can clip the tail, and then to make it sound nice and neat, we'll just fade it out a little bit. Let's have one final listen. We can trim that tail a little bit more so that we have the initial attack, and then it drops quite quickly. Let's have one final listen. That's perfect. That way it creates space for the lead synth as it comes in. Before we listen to it all together, click on our main track, type in master, and we'll select master dance aggressive and bring this into our main track. This adds an EQ and compressor combination on our master track. EQ is used to balance the highs, mids and lows, so every part sounds clear, and the compression will even out the loud and soft parts. We'll choose punch and presence, but I'll cycle through a few different options so you can hear the effect of each preset. Let's have a listen to the whole track. You've just recreated the verse and chorus from Go by the Chemical Brothers. Now compare your version to the original, tweak your sounds, and experiment by adding more effects or layers. Expanding these sections to build out the full track could be your next step. Well done!